It was a long time ago in the eastern part of Nigeria. There lived a little girl of about 15 years by name Amina. She stayed with her grandmother, who taught her all she needed to know about being a Muslim. Although they could not go to the mosque like the rest because it was far from the house, Amina learnt everything she needed to know at home. They weeded people's farms together, and due to the fact that they could barely feed themselves, there was no need for her to go to school. Her grandmother had planned that when Amina came of age, she would give her out to one of the alhajis in the community to get married. Maybe he would send her to school even though Amina was growing more beautiful every day. She was just 15 but had developed many womanly features. Her grandmother feared that she would one day run away like her mother, who learned from her friends about how life outside the village was good and enjoyable, leading her to leave the village to enjoy with her friends, eventually returning home pregnant. Amina's grandma saw it as one of the negative effects of going to school and was happy Amina did not go to school. It was a problem for the household of Amina's grandmother to get pregnant because it was said that when a woman of the household gets pregnant and gives birth, such a person will not make it out alive. And the child, if it is a female, will remain to continue from the lineage. More reason women prayed for make children. Amina's grandmother was not the real mother of her mother. She picked Amina's mother from the riverbank when she went to fetch water in the stream. Since she refused to take in for fear that she would die during childbirth before her husband died mysteriously. She saw Amina's mother as a gift from the gods, but she was shocked when the same fate befell Amina, that her mother had to die while giving birth to her. At a point her grandmother worried about her dying when she gives birth, and even Amina had told her one day that she would not get married. "Whatever the gods would do with me, they should do it," she would say with so much seriousness. And it was odd that Amina isolated herself from other children, that even when her grandmother would advise her to make friends, she would say no, that she had another mission. Her grandmother saw it as children's talk and did not pay any attention to it. It was on a fateful day. Amina's grandmother was working in a farm outside their house as usual, that Amina was sleeping in the hot afternoon. She woke up suddenly with sweat filling her whole body from head to toe. She was so scared that she ran outside, calling her grandmother. "Grandma, Grandma," she called, "what is it?" The grandmother asked. Still panting, she breathed heavily. Then she was calm for a minute. "I had a dream. Someone gave me a jug to quench fire. I refused to get it from the person because I have never seen that face before, but then the person turned and our whole house was on fire," she said, shivering. Her grandmother, although she knew that might have meant something even when she did not know what it was. "It is a bad dream, nothing more," her grandmother said, trying to talk her out of her fear. Then she gave Amina a chair to sit and watch her weed the grasses. Although the thought of the house being on fire bothered Amina, because before that time, she had been dreaming and then she would see the same thing she had dreamt in real life. There were voices in her head that she could not understand, and it was as if they were all talking to her and even trying to say things in the Hausa language and things she could not understand. It was as if the walls and even the leaves were talking to her, trying to communicate with her. It was the next day, and Amina woke up to people shouting at the top of their voices. She opened her eyes and saw herself lying down outside the hut, which was completely on fire. "She is awake," someone said, trying to examine her whole body. Then she ignored and cleaned her eyes to really see what was going on. Then she noticed their hut was on fire. Amina looked around and could not find her grandma. It dawned on her that her grandma might be inside the house, which was completely on fire. "Grandma, Grandma, could this be one of my dreams?" "Don't go near the fire, it will burn you," somebody said, while others just stood there with folded arms. Others were pouring water on the house that was completely on fire. It was as if someone had carefully set the fire as it burned down everything. It looked as if the people could not understand the language Amina was speaking because no one answered her. Everyone was busy. She was calling out to her grandmother when she heard someone say, "Oh, poor child, I wonder who will take care of her now. The old woman has been burnt to ashes by now," and nobody could save her, the woman said with folded arms. Just then, Amina realized that the fire had burnt her grandmother and she was trapped inside the building, which collapsed as she attempted to move her legs. She let out a loud scream, rubbing herself on the ground. First, it was her mother whom she had never met, and then it was her grandmother who was the one taking care of her. How was a 15-year-old child like her going to survive all alone in the world? She did not know of any other family or relative she could run to. She watched the fire burn even greater and thought about how the fire was burning her grandmother. Her world had completely shattered, she thought. She did not know when her eyes closed slowly, and she fell to the ground, hitting her head on a stone as everyone rushed to help her. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for part 2.